Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Welcome back to the PA the FI Way podcast. Kat here, and I just wrapped up my work week. I only work 3 clinical days, and I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so my work week is done, but I am getting ready to get everything packed and ready to go for AAPA 2025 in Denver coming up here. I'm really looking forward to catching up with friends that have moved across the country, as well as other PAs that I have known, and networking and meeting new PAs as well as exhibitors at the exhibit hall too. I'd love to connect with any of my listeners out there, so if you're going to be there, definitely say hi, and I hope you have a wonderful time at the conference too. Back in episode 98, I talked about the benefits of boundaries and how to set them, and today's episode is going to elaborate on the concept of boundaries. I'm going to teach you how to say no to the yes trap and really develop the skill that is an absolute burnout prevention skill that every clinician needs to learn. I'm curious, have you ever agreed to something, said, yes, you can add that into your schedule, or yes, you can do that or take on that project, and then you've immediately regretted it? Or maybe a few months into it, you've regretted it. Well, you might be stuck in what's called the yes trap. All of us who have worked in clinic know this feeling all too well. Someone from the front desk or a nursing team member or even an office manager comes and knocks on your office door and says, hey, your patient showed up 30 minutes late and they're wondering if they could still be seen right now. Or, hey, we had this walk-in and they weren't on the schedule, but they would really like to be seen. Can you squeeze them into your appointments during the day? And then instantly you have this internal debate. Do I say yes or do I say no? If I say yes, maybe that will show that I'm a team player and get people to like me more. But if I say no, I know that I will either be skipping my lunch or be getting home 30 to 60 minutes later, not be able to be there when my kids get home from school or be able to help them out with bedtime. So how can you gracefully say no and avoid getting stuck in the yes trap? You might be asking yourself, what is the yes trap? The yes trap is the pattern of saying yes to everything you get asked out of guilt, fear, obligation, people-pleasing, etc. And the yes trap is so common in healthcare. Part of that is because we are a helping profession. All of us PAs and other healthcare providers, nurses, clinicians, therapists, we all went into the field because we want to help people. Usually, that means we are also very unselfish people and tend to think of others more than ourselves. Certainly, these are great qualities, but they're also a recipe for you to get stuck in the yes trap. The yes trap is so common in healthcare as well because, unfortunately, healthcare creates and nurtures this culture of self-sacrifice and trying to be a martyr. You are giving up your time, your precious time. You are giving up your self-care. You are giving up your healthy habits to better serve your patients. But this is your reminder that if you're not taking care of and serving yourself, then no matter the good that you're doing for others, you will start feeling burnt out and stressed and feeling like no matter whatever you do is not good enough. The yes trap is also common in healthcare because of the fear of being seen as a difficult clinician, uncooperative, not a team member, not a team player for your colleagues or for your patients. Additionally, there's the pressure to keep up the appearance of trying to be nice. You're the nice person that all your colleagues likes to work with or get along with, or you're the nice provider that your patients like to see. Again, I'm not saying not to be a nice human being, right? But I also want you to learn to develop the skill of saying no to the yes trap so that you are protective of your time, your boundaries, your self-care, and what's important to you overall. What is the hidden cost of the yes trap? If you're stuck in this constant yes trap, you can develop emotional exhaustion, your compassion fatigue can get worse, and it can even have scary consequences where there can actually be a decline in the patient care and the quality of the care that you're providing because you're overextending yourself. Another hidden cost is that you're losing your personal time, you're losing your family time, your boundaries are being eroded before you even have the chance to set them, and that can all lead to growing resentment. When you are saying yes to every single thing you're being asked, you're also reinforcing unhealthy workplace norms. You are giving in to the culture of self-sacrifice, and you are subconsciously training your staff members that you will always say yes to anything. So you're going to be the go-to person that they're going to ask for everything. So next, let's talk about why saying no is actually really hard to do, but also why it's absolutely necessary. First, when you're being asked to do something and you feel tempted to fall into the yes trap, that's because you have internal pressures. Those internal pressures can look like people pleasing, where you are trying to get your validation from being helpful or accommodating to others. Can look like perfectionism and thinking that you can handle it all and anything that's thrown on your plate, you can absolutely fit it in and do it. Another internal pressure is imposter syndrome, where you feel like you need to prove your worth by overperforming and you don't quite feel like you've actually made it or reached what you have reached and what you have achieved. And if you haven't yet done so, go back and listen to episode 154, a couple of episodes ago, that talks more about imposter syndrome. It teaches you how to spot it, how to stop it, and how to prevent burnout with tackling and combating imposter syndrome. Besides those internal pressures, there's also the external pressures. For example, there could be staffing shortages, or your workplace might have unrealistic workloads. Your workplace might pressure for productivity. This is such a common one when clinics and hospitals and organizations are pressured to meet their metrics, whether that's RVUs, whether that's number of patients, and especially if you're salary-based. Many times they want to squeeze and pressure every ounce of work out of you because they can't pay you more. So they want you to give and give and give more for the salary that you have. And sometimes it can even look like they're dangling a carrot in front of you, thinking that you might actually get a little bit of a raise coming up for your annual review if you just perform a little bit better. There are so many PAs that I have met that are compensated on salary, and unfortunately, the amount of hours per week are not set with firm boundaries, meaning they are working well over their 40 hours per week and only earning a salary that's reflective of 40 hours per week. 50 plus hours per week is not uncommon, unfortunately. In my opinion, it's absolutely criminal that there are so many clinicians out there working 10 plus hours extra per week for no additional pay. My mind cannot fathom this. If you're compensated on an RVU or other productivity-based structure, at least you are earning more for more patients that you are seeing. But at the same time, there can be thresholds and limits with that too. So it's always mindful that you are thinking and asking yourself, is this actually worth to take on extra? Because your sanity is worth more than any form of money. I have definitely been part of organizations that push and push and push for productivity, and yet they either don't offer additional bonus or increased compensation, or they give you a minuscule increase of salary for your annual review, or you do get a little bit of a bonus, but you reflect back over the last quarter and think of yourself, wow, was that actually worth it? I was pushing myself over this past quarter and it's not that much more than other quarters where I wasn't pushing myself. And then do an internal check-in. How's your mental health doing with that? Are you more stressed? Are you more anxious? Are you more down? Has your sleep suffered? Are you way more tired? Always be checking in with yourself too. So let's reflect on some mindset shifts when it comes to boundaries. This is your reminder that saying no is not selfish. It's actually responsible for yourself and those around you too. Boundaries are an act of respect for yourself and your team. Boundaries don't keep people out of your life. They keep you in your life. And you can be kind, competent, and collaborative without always saying yes and being part of the yes trap and always being available to everyone else for their needs. This is also a reminder that developing and implementing boundaries is a continual skill that you need to practice over the course of your life. This is not something that you wake up tomorrow and believe, okay, now I'm really great at setting boundaries. Today will be a breeze and I can do this. No, it is something that you need to work on implementing into your life, practicing over and over, practicing in different scenarios, different settings with different people, and practice your no. Doing so will give you confidence and empowerment to continue to refine your boundaries and carry them out for the future in all situations. I'm going to transition into talking about the different types of no that you can utilize. And with this part of the podcast, I want you to listen and start reflecting which types of these no actually come naturally to you, which types do you tend to utilize or tend to jump to, and which types of no could you actually practice. We all know the saying, no is a complete sentence, right? There is absolute truth to that. No means no. You don't necessarily need to elaborate by any means. However, going through these different types of no will help you practice your boundary setting and do so in a polite and professional and caring way so that you are standing strong in your boundaries, but yet not coming across as a complete jerk to those around you. Also, I encourage you to check out the link in the show notes because I will have a free cheat sheet for you that includes all these different types of no, so you don't have to write them all down or take notes in your notes section on your phone. And there are going to be real life scripts that you can utilize in healthcare as a clinician that run through different scenarios of how you can utilize these different types of no as well. So it'll be really invaluable information. Make sure you go ahead and download that cheat sheet as well. The first type of no is a soft no. A soft no is a no, but it is very polite and brief. It gets your point across without being completely super blunt. An example would be if someone asks you, hey, we don't have enough people to cover the ER next week. Can you pick up Friday? I know it's Memorial Day, but we really need someone to cover that shift. And let's say you're going out of town, you have plans, you can't do it. So a soft no, an example would be, thanks for thinking of me. I'm not available to pick up extra shifts right now. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You're saying no, but you're not elaborating. You're not going into extra details, which are not necessary. The next type of no is a firm no, and it talks about your values and it reinforces those. It's grounded in your ethics and your energy as you reinforce those boundaries. For example, let's say you get asked to join a committee through your workplace and you're already on 3 of them. You can't add another one. A values aligned no would be, this sounds like a valuable project and I appreciate the invitation, but I'm committed to preserving my clinical energy and I can't take on additional roles right now. The next type is a team-focused no. Let's go back to the example where a patient arrives a half an hour late and your leadership at your clinic is pressuring you to fit them in and just squeeze them into your schedule real quick. It's just a sore throat. It won't take that long. Side note, we all know that it's never just a sore throat in situations like this, right? Or it is, but then it's the most complicated, medically complex patient you've ever had, right? So going back to the example, what is an example of a team-focused no? It would be something along the lines of, I understand the pressure to keep things moving, but adding a late patient to my schedule now will delay care for others. The most respectful thing for all patients is to reschedule. Or encourage them to be seen at an urgent care or check to see if your colleagues have openings. There's other ways that it can be done, right? When I used to work in family medicine, I thoroughly enjoyed staying on time out of respect for both myself as well as the current patients that I was seeing, as well as all the patients lined up after those patients later in the day. It was something that I had set as a personal boundary for myself that I absolutely tried my hardest to stay on time. And that is honestly super challenging in family medicine. That's one of the reasons why I got burnt out and decided to transition to a specialty. I love to be a thorough person. I love to be detailed, but I also love to stay on time. And it was hard to do in family medicine. But that is a great example of how you can use your no to share how you're trying to focus on your team, both your colleagues, your nursing team, your MAs, as well as all the patients that are scheduled after the patient that is trying to fit in on their schedule. The next type of no is a policy-backed no, and this differs to rules and processes. I've definitely used this one particularly around controlled substances. If you have a controlled substance agreement lined up, you can defer to the policy and say, unfortunately, that's not something I can prescribe for you, or this refill cannot be provided, or whatever type of no you need to say. But whenever you have a policy in place, it's easy to use that policy to back up your no. The next type of no is a boundary and compassion no. It's where you are more empathetic, but yet you are still very clear with your no. An example of this would be when you're asked to pick up an extra shift. Again, let's say it's the Friday before Memorial Day. When you are showing compassion, you can say, I know coverage is tight and I wish I could help, but I'm at capacity. I will be unavailable and I can't take on anything extra right now without risking burnout. The next type of no is a future possibility no. It's essentially saying, no, not now, but maybe later. Going back to the example of being asked to join another committee, you can say, I'm currently focused on your current commitment, whatever that looks like, but I'd be open to revisiting this later in the year if capacity opens up. That example shows them that you're interested and that you might be able to take this on in the future, but you just don't know what the next several months look like for you. And they might unfortunately have to pass on you at that time. And if that's the case, then the timing wasn't aligned anyway. Another type of no is a reputation safe no. And it's where you're honest about the bandwidth that you have. So for example, that same example where you're asked to join another committee, this would look like where you could say, to do this well would require time I don't have right now. I don't want to say yes and then underdeliver, so I'll have to pass. That shows that you are trying to protect your reputation because you do not have enough bandwidth to do the job well. Another type of no is a redirect no. It's where you offer alternative support or another contact person. You could say, for example, maybe so-and-so, another person on your team can assist you with that. Another type of no is where it's a not yet. It's essentially saying no for now, and you're saying yes for the future. You could use this for the example of the patient who is walking in 30 minutes late. Let's say right now you can't fit them into your schedule, but in an hour and a half, you actually have an opening where another patient called ahead to cancel. So you would say, yes, I can fit them in, but in an hour and a half at this slot. Another type of no is where you are delegating. So you are saying, no, not me, but that I am suggesting this person who's better suited for that. The next type of no is a protective no, where you are trying to protect the patient's safety or ethical boundaries. If you truly believe that saying yes would compromise patient care, put you at a higher risk of potential malpractice issues, simply say that. The main thing that you need to remember is that you don't need to justify excessively any of your no's. A short and a kind no is often best, and it's often direct and doesn't leave a gray area of a potential opening unless you're wanting that for the future, but always be clear. A great framework to remember when you are saying your no is first to acknowledge the request. You can repeat back to them what you are hearing that they're asking of you. Next is to affirm your boundary. Once you decide what your boundary is, if you're going to be saying no, it's essential that you affirm it. And then finally, redirect or close gracefully. An example of this could look like, thanks for thinking of me. I'm going to pass this time so I can stay aligned with my current priorities, but I hope that it goes well and I wish you the best. So reflecting back through those types of no's, which one of them came more naturally to you? And which ones could you practice to implement into your life to protect your time, your well-being, your energy, and to help prevent burnout? I encourage you to practice saying one no by the end of this week, even if it's something small. If it's something you don't want to do, if it's something that infringes upon your boundaries, use that time to practice your no. Remember, you're not being difficult, you're being discerning, and you're not saying no to people, you're saying yes to your capacity, your ethics, your bandwidth, your time, your family, and your longevity in medicine too. As a reminder, go ahead to the show notes and get your free cheat sheet for how to say no gracefully with the scripts and different boundary types that you can practice saying your no's. You can also find the cheat sheet at pathefiway.com/say no, and that will take you directly to the cheat sheet as well. Do you know a friend or colleague who is stuck in the yes trap and needs to practice saying no gracefully? Share the link to this episode with them so they can learn these skills to help prevent burnout in their lives as well. If you found the info helpful, go ahead and leave a review wherever you're listening to this on as well. It helps others find PA the FI Way, helps them find the podcast, and hopefully will continue to impact the lives of PAs and other clinicians out there. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you at AAPA or meeting you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you back here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI Way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.